I spent $5.3 million on this Pikachu card.
Because Pokemon has outperformed the stock market by 3,000% in the last 20 years.
Current bid on the Illustrator, $12 million.
No way, no way, no way.
But when we have a high-profile item, an expensive item such as the PSA 10 Illustrator that was a 9 several times before it got a 10, that is not the case, even though this thing clearly is not a 10.
Not too long ago, I broke down how Logan Paul ended up in serious controversy once again. This time, it hit the Pokemon and trading card community hard back in 2022. Logan didn't just casually dip his toes into the world of Pokemon, he dove in head first. He wasn't opening packs for the thrill or nostalgia, he was spending millions on rare cards, sealed boxes, and showing off legendary grails like it was just pocket change. The drama escalated when he got scammed on one of these massive deals, adding another layer of chaos to the saga. Eventually, Logan joined forces with investors and rolled out a venture called the Liquid Marketplace. On paper, it sounded like the future of collectibles. The idea was simple, yet ambitious. People could purchase fractional shares of physical collectibles, from trading cards to sports memorabilia. You wouldn't need to own an entire card yourself, just a fraction of it. And supposedly, blockchain technology would handle all the logistics, making the process secure and completely legit. But the part that really caught attention and sparked controversy was Logan's plan to sell 51% fractional ownership of one of the rarest Pokemon cards ever, a PSA 10 Pikachu Illustrator. For collectors, this card is essentially the holy grail, perfect condition, nearly impossible to find, and astronomically valuable. Fans were being promised that they could own a slice of this legendary card, and the hype exploded. Fast forward a few years, and the Liquid Marketplace has essentially collapsed. Lawsuits began piling up, complaints flooded in, and from the outside, it appears Logan has slowly distanced himself from the entire ordeal. The project that once seemed so revolutionary now stands as a cautionary tale, leaving the Pokemon and trading card community to pick up the pieces and question how much of it was ever as legit as promised.
Now you can just buy a token on Liquid Marketplace to own high value, top tier assets that you cannot get anywhere else, right? Like these.
Later, Logan took to Twitter and said that in 2024, he had repurchased the fractionally owned share of the card, claiming everything was handled according to the original terms of the agreement. After that, his description of the platform shifted, almost as if he were only loosely involved, which is wild considering he had repeatedly promoted himself as the face of Liquid Marketplace. He was front and center in the branding. He was the hype machine.
And so if you saw on my socials today, we just launched my next company. I'm a co-founder of this platform called Liquid Marketplace. It is a collectible co-ownership blockchain exchange.
The platform was practically synonymous with him. That's exactly why fans and investors blew up when he announced a partnership with Ken Golden from the Netflix series King of Collectibles to auction off that very same PSA 10 Pikachu Illustrator. According to reports, the deal would give Logan a substantial upfront advance along with a cut of the final auction price. Naturally, this raised eyebrows online. People began asking, what about the fractional owners? What happened to the investors who thought they co-owned a piece of that card? Meanwhile, voices like Rattle Pokemon on YouTube questioned the PSA 10 grade itself. They argued that the card may never have legitimately earned a perfect score, suggesting it could have been resubmitted multiple times until it finally hit PSA 10, which is what fueled its legendary value. As expected, the community wasn't thrilled. Before the auction concluded, Logan posted another update claiming that Liquid Marketplace had released unclaimed funds, now available for withdrawal. He even shared a link to the platform's website, which had been offline for a while, signaling a sudden, almost reactive effort to address lingering concerns.
But when we have a high-profile item, an expensive item such as the PSA 10 Illustrator that was a 9 several times before it got a 10, that is not the case, even though this thing clearly is not a 10.
Former users were supposedly able to log back in and reclaim their funds, but here's the kicker. It doesn't even seem like investors actually owned the physical card the way many of them thought they did. Over the past month, Logan went full throttle promoting this auction. High energy clips, cinematic edits, big flex energy everywhere. And to be fair, marketing is where he shines. He knows exactly how to grab eyeballs. He knows that controversy drives clicks. But there's a pattern. He has a history of silencing critics. On a now deleted post where he wrote, "Goodbye my friends, what a privilege it's been to own the greatest collectible in the world. From Guinness World Records to WWE debuts, Netflix to national news, this card and I have been on a generational run. Tomorrow night, she finds a new home on Golden Auctions, someone commented. Liquid Fraction owners remember, they once co-owned this Pikachu card, LOL, and they were blocked almost immediately. That's the vibe here. Loud celebration on the surface, total silence for dissent underneath. Comments disabled, clean feed, no questions allowed. Then came auction night. A staggering $12.5 million bid came through. Logan's reaction? Genuine shock. He kept repeating, "No way, bro," as if the number was unreal even to him. And just like that, the Pikachu Illustrator officially set a new world record, becoming the most expensive trading card ever sold at auction.
I spent $5.3 million on this Pikachu card.
Because Pokemon has outperformed the stock market by 3,000% in the last 20 years.
Meaning this is now worth more than all of these watches, these cars,
And probably this dinosaur.
Because it is the only perfect PSA 10 Pikachu Illustrator in existence.
And now, I'm letting it go.
This grail is going up for auction on Pokemon's 30th anniversary. The crown jewel of the highest grossing franchise in the world.
Someone is going to own the Guinness World Record-setting card that I hunted for years. And
It was a historic moment, beating the previous Kobe Bryant card record, grabbing massive headlines, and flexing harder than almost anything in trading card history. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The investors who thought they actually owned a piece of that Pikachu Illustrator, they're apparently only able to withdraw their original funds years later. Sounds fair on the surface, right? Except what about inflation? What about opportunity cost? That money was frozen. It couldn't be invested elsewhere. It couldn't earn interest. It couldn't be tapped for an emergency. Maybe someone needed rent money. Maybe there were medical bills. That cash was sitting idle while the card's value exploded. So yes, Logan walked away with a historic payday. The auction made headlines. The flex looked legendary. But for a lot of people watching from the sidelines, it doesn't feel like a win. It feels messy. It feels incomplete. And it left a bitter taste for collectors who thought they were part of something bigger. Maybe someone hit a rough patch. Maybe someone genuinely needed that cash back. Meanwhile, Logan is still out here breaking records, popping champagne, confetti everywhere, like the scene of a Hollywood premiere. And honestly, as I get older, I've come to a tough realization. Sometimes bad behavior goes unpunished. Sometimes the loudest person in the room still walks away with the largest check. During the auction, bidding soared to around $16.5 million. The tension was palpable. Cameras zoomed in, and then the winning bidder was brought on stage, treated like it was a championship ceremony. These are people with more money than they could ever realistically spend in a lifetime, and yet the spectacle continues. If you want, I can now merge all 4 rewritten sections into one complete, seamless, polished script from start to finish, fully original, same length, critical, and dramatic, ready for use. Do you want me to do that?
Current bid on the Illustrator, $12 million.
No way! No way! No way! What? No way! No way, bro! No way! No way, bro!
One more bid's a new record all time. 12.5 million.
No way, bro!
2, 1, $60 million! $492,000. Absolutely insane.
Oh my gosh!
We're talking generational wealth, financial security for life, and yet the appetite never fades. It's always about breaking more records, grabbing more headlines, commanding more spotlight, asserting more dominance. When you're the one cashing the check, none of the noise really matters. Watching the scene unfold, it honestly felt like 2 ultra-wealthy brothers celebrating another epic flex. One of them decked out in a Pokémon onesie, casually dropping lines about being a film director, like it was just another Tuesday. Of course, Logan looked ecstatic. Someone literally handed him $16.5 million for a single card. Who wouldn't be grinning from ear to ear? But let's be honest, there's nothing revolutionary about spending inherited wealth at an auction. That's not innovation, that's luxury spending on steroids. And you can't convince me the entire production wasn't carefully staged for maximum drama. The ceremonial handoff, Logan passing the card like it was a sacred relic from some lost civilization, champagne spraying, applause roaring, cameras flashing non-stop, Ken Golden in the background acting as if if this were the single greatest moment in collectible history, and then, boom, another Guinness World Record handed over like a championship trophy. Meanwhile, the investors who once thought they co-owned a fraction of the card, they're now being told, years later, that they can log back in and withdraw their original funds. Cool. If you can ignore inflation, opportunity cost, and all the time that money sat frozen, but the spectacle didn't end there. During the same live stream, Logan unveiled his next venture, and honestly, the pitch feels strikingly familiar. VIP access, ripping packs tied to real graded cards, instant liquidity, basically a remix of the same collectible hype, just with a fresh spin.
Logan Paul, Ken Golden, tonight you sold the PSA 10 Pikachu Illustrator card for $16,492,000. On behalf of Guinness World Records, I can now confirm you have achieved a new record title for not only for the most expensive Pokemon card ever sold at auction, but also the overall record for the
Store them in vaults, ship them straight to your doorstep. Digital access meets physical assets. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? It's essentially fractional ownership of collectibles, just wrapped in a shinier package. They even built in a leaderboard system. Users can compete, climb the ranks, unlock bigger rewards, and refer friends to accelerate progress. The more people you bring in, the higher you move. First, you join a waitlist, then you invite friends, then bonuses start unlocking. I'm not making any direct claims here, but the structure, it's definitely triangular in shape. Every confirmed referral boosts your standing. Collecting becomes a social contest, a public display of wealth and influence. Invite more friends, climb higher, show off your digital pile of cards. You log in, rip packs, chase cards from Logan's personal collection, which, let's remember, didn't exactly go off without a hitch the first time around, depending on who you ask. Now, I'm not claiming this new platform is a direct clone of Liquid Marketplace, but let's be real, the vibes are unmistakably familiar. When a sequel closely resembles a project that already collapsed amid lawsuits and backlash, it's natural for people to raise eyebrows.
What is up, collector? Rip It is coming soon, and you're gonna want to be first in line. So we're growing our wait list for users to get early access and to give back to the day one collectors who help us grow this thing. Top referrers will climb the leaderboard to get rewarded with things like the holographic pull from this first edition heavy pack, a $30,000 base set unlimited box, and a PSA 9.
And that skepticism? It's not random. It didn't come out of nowhere. If someone decides to jump into a system like this after everything that's already gone down, I wouldn't be surprised if things went sideways again. The track record is public. Even a younger person with access to a parent's credit card should probably pause and think twice. Logan and his team are grinding, no doubt about it. The marketing is slick, the rollout is loud, the energy is high, but to me the timing feels off. It's like celebrating a championship while former teammates are still asking, hey, what happened to our share of the winnings? Then this morning, Logan tried to clarify. He posted that auction night was historic and thanked the Pokemon community, Ken Golden, and his team. Fair enough, it was historic. He also laid out the ownership numbers. Originally, up to 51% of the Illustrator card was offered through Liquid Marketplace, but according to him, only 5.4% was actually sold. That totaled roughly $270,000 back in 2022. In May 2024, he says he repurchased at 5.4% at the same price, per the platform's terms, and made the funds available for withdrawal. If that's accurate, then yeah, 5.4% looks a lot less dramatic than the 51% headline that initially grabbed attention. Legally, buying back shares at the agreed price checks the contract box. But here's where people still feel uneasy. The card just sold for $16.5 million. When an asset skyrockets like that, expectations shift. Optics change immediately. People see that number and assume early investors should get a slice of the upside, not just receive their original money back as if nothing happened. For example, if someone invested $10,000 and the asset's value multiplied many times over, fairness would suggest they see some benefit from that growth. Legally required? Maybe not. Morally, that's exactly where the debate heats up. Logan also mentioned that users had about a year to withdraw funds after the buyback, and many did. He claims he personally funded the site restoration so people could access their money. Emails were supposedly sent and the funds are now available. So, what do you think? On one hand, if only 5.4% was sold and he honored the original agreement, that paints a very different picture than half the card being locked up. On the other hand, once a $16.5 million headline hits, perceptions and emotions change fast. I want to hear from you. Do you think Logan handled the buyback fairly under the original terms, or should early investors have shared in the historic upside? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, share this video, and leave your take in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.